Oh,
What's popping? And we live. Happy what is it? Happy Testimony Tuesday. What's popping, Marcy? How you doing, boo?
hey, I'm good. How are you doing? Welcome, everyone. Good to be back on here. We always actually fall short when we say we're going to come on, but I guess we always come on when we're meant to, right? So,
Yeah.
no worries there.
That part.
Everybody's trying to strive through this winter, rest and recoup.
Happens when it's supposed to happen.
Exactly. I'm a firm believer in that.
Mm-hmm.
Great believer in that. So, I'm going to see what the energy is. Oh, bless your heart. Emotional recovery. Are these the battle wounds from Valentine's Day? I don't. No, it's not just that. I think it's emotional recovery from everything everybody's been up against or has gone through up until this point in time. Everything's kind of solidifying and falling into place, locking and linking. Things are being shifted.
What I realized last night was like healing is a long road. Like it's not a one-stop shop. It's not like it's not a magic fix. It doesn't happen overnight. Like that shit is crazy.
Oh, true. I think, yeah, and I think there's bless your heart could in that sense could also be related to his compassion, not only for yourself but for as we're going through our own healing journeys and things like that. Be compassionate with yourself. We're all works in progress, right? And I think we like to beat ourselves up to a point or beat others. I really don't beat other people up. I'll be like, I don't got time for that. I got to work on myself.
Right.
I don't got time for that shit.
Fuck that.
I gotta stay strong and ready. Right.
Tell me why you breaking up so bad right now. Like,
oh, I don't know. Am I?
This must gonna be a good show.
Oh wait, I just turned up. Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
I can hear you, but you frozen. But it's okay as long as I can hear you.
Am I frozen? I am frozen on your end.
No, you're not frozen.
Well, hey, we have not spoken about this because I was not going to speak about it, but the last few shows we didn't have any interference because I think we battled through that. So if I freeze up and you can still hear me, then that's fine. And if something happens along the way, then I'll just do what I always do, log out and log back in. How about that? So look at this little selenite. I'm gonna transform that shit now.
All right, y'all. So tonight we're talking about truth and integrity, and this is the majestic Magi. This is her brainchild. So take the lead. What we talking about? Well, what you mean? What we dibbling and dabbling in?
I was saying not wavering on heart. Your integrity in your heart, your intent. I am a strong believer about the intentions and the purity and things, and I'm and I firmly believe for myself, like I don't, it's not up to me to explain anything to anybody or explain my intent to anybody, because if I know if I have peace in my heart over that, then I don't waver on my integrity in certain situations. I don't have to in every situation, but I think it's important. And also I pulled the compassion card or the bless your heart card. I think that fell right into line with what I think we're going to talk about tonight, and I think we're just going to go chill back like we always do and just let it flow. But truth and integrity. So I don't personally don't waver on some things that I believe in. If we want to speak about personal experiences, I don't waver on helping people in situations that I felt it was time to help them in, whether it be losing jobs over it or anything like that. That happens. But I don't waver on it because I know that there's always a bigger plan. I don't regret things that I feel that I was supposed to, and I think that there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for a lot of those things, and how many can not let the constraints and the what's that what the word I want to use is the restraints, I guess, of the world or the persecution of the world And are you brave enough to stand up for yourself? Are you brave enough to stand in what you believe in? Are you afraid to be in your truth and to the most highest power that you can and walk that talk? And whether, and let it sacrifice everything around you if it means, if it's your truth, right?
And so
So
where I'm from, they like, is you willing to die about it? Is you willing to
yeah,
die about it? And you know what I'm saying? You ain't willing to die about it, then shut the fuck up. You know what I'm
yep,
saying?
yeah,
So like, that's how I feel about my integrity. Like, I'm willing to die about this shit. I don't give a fuck. We can all die, bitch. I'm
yeah.
going out. Like I'm going out because I'm gonna stand in my integrity, even if it kills me.
Right. And I think that a lot of times I like to call the opposing energy the gremlins, because I don't like to give it that power, to say, okay, it's a push pull, and it's not but the push pull is to actually, and maybe is a test of your courage, is a test of your will, a test of your integrity, your test of your truth. So these are some of the questions, that I think that we kind of set back and ask ourselves, or we ask the world around us. And there's a lot to be spoken about all of that. I mean, so I personally favor on certain things. And because I know what it's like to need help, need somebody to help, and not whether that would be your own family or your own, things like that. And if I can help, you better be sure I'm going to. And whether that, and I don't care what that costs me. I don't care if that costs me my last month. I don't waver on it. So I get a good meal at the table.
So something that you said, and I just kind of want to reiterate, like, I think when you have integrity and truth, like, you have to really know how to lose. You have to be prepared to lose. You have to be prepared. You have to really, and it sounds daunting, and it's not daunting, but you have to be prepared for the worst. Like, like, it's many times I done had a conversation and said to myself, and probably the person I'm talking to, we might not be friends after this. I might not have a job after this conversation, but I can't sit here and fucking lie to you. I done told my mom, I done told my dad, look, I'm a be honest with you. I say I'm happy that I live far away, because this truth probably get my
Right.
But you gotta have this talk, my boy. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be willing to lose. People see, what you have to understand is people are so afraid of their truth, they don't want to take it. They're avoiding it, and they don't want you to give it to them, and so they'll just stop fucking with you because you too real, because you too
right.
and
Right.
you gotta be, and that hurts. It hurts to lose people you love for being honest, but the reality is it'll happen. So
yeah, but you don't gotta sit in their cesspool of fucking bullshit either. You don't gotta let that energy take your happiness, because it's not up to us to prove you to. It's like it's the frequency. You know what I mean? Just like I do say, there's a lot of times that I'll always say, God, show them the truth. And somebody, because that's when, you have to, or that's something personal I use, that if I have to remove myself from something, or I know that I can't extend my boundaries in a certain situation, and I'll be like, okay, well, I can be responsible for my truth and my intention, but I can't convince nobody. So and so it's not about us to convince people. It's just about us being able to draw in the frequency and the energy of the like minds and the like support and the like influence that knows our place in this world, and how we can help, and what our mission and our job is, and scrape, bandage up them scrapes along the way, I guess you'd say, and I want to touch base on when you said about be willing to lose, but are you really losing though? A lot of times when you stand your truth, it's like, how many times we can, you're not really losing when you're standing your truth. It's like, because it kind of coincides with not being able to convince people,
right?
That's your walk and your talk, or lead by example type things, or and hey, I may not be for everyone, you may not be everyone for everyone, or my belief may not be for everyone. That's awesome, but I know that I what they say, live by the sword, die by the sword. But the swords are yours, baby, and you can shine them up any way you want, and that's the beautiful part about personal freedom, emotional freedom,
A lot
we
of
off
people don't have any of that. And said a lot of people are like partially like the Eight of Cups is it came up in the reading today and it kind of comes up in my head. It's just like if we had a checklist of happy and freedom, people will be like, I got they'll have personal freedom but not emotional freedom. Like they never
right.
have both or all of the things at once. They just have or they'll have some but not all of them. I'm
Mhm.
trying to check off all of the freedom boxes because why the fuck not?
Well, yeah, because but that also coincides, I believe, with the whole connotation that heaven on earth is possible. Do you believe it's possible? I do. I think that that's part of this emotional shift. And we also can break it down and say, hey, and that's what it is. It's the truth and the integrity and that belief, that little spark in you, that has always that there's something that all of us there's something that is individual to each of us that you believe in that nobody else could take from you, that it doesn't matter what the hell anybody said, and you just know it, whether they're your own personal convictions, whether your own personal thoughts, feelings, or little experiences that were maybe just meant for you, and I know a lot of times we just get excited, like, oh, I want to share, I want to talk about this, and someone will be like, oh, you're batshit crazy. I don't give a fuck because I know that it was for me, and that's just the thing. But those are also the beautiful little, I would call miracles too, the little moments, the little stardust that we each have individually that belongs to us as well. So, and those maybe are the little glistening breadcrumbs along the way, because one of my favorite analogies I like to use too is like God will always give you breadcrumbs. Well, breadcrumbs on both sides of the spectrum. So, and it's all about perception. It's all about personal belief, and it's taking back your own sovereignty, claiming your sovereignty, claiming your personal power, and then having the courage to use it in the proper form, right, without the abuse of power. and and it's not, when we're talking about not being able to convince people or whatever, it's not, if people can run around any block they want to, it's not up to me to say, well, if you punch that clock 9 to 5 and you're willing to knock over everybody around you just to get that little dollar, but you hate going to work, that ain't up to me to say that that's wrong for somebody. That's what they want. Me personally, I think my personal opinion is, if you don't love what you do and you don't have passion in what you're doing, you have no fucking business being there. So step aside and let other people move in that belong there. Because if you're just doing something for $1, then it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of that old peace and stealing the freedom and things like that. Because that's the shifts, I believe, as well.
So I got a couple things for you. One, I'm gonna start with my interesting factoid. I was reading an article, I want to say, or I saw it on Instagram. I want to say it was an article or something on my phone, and it says that when you take the ashes of humans and you put them under the microscope, they mimic that of a galaxy. They look like that ashes, human ashes look like galaxies under microscopes. So that's interesting. Second thing I wanted to talk to you about, you said we were talking about convincing. And so this is something that I tell people all the time and they don't get it, because I might tell them, depending on how I feel about you, I might tell you a couple times. If I don't give a fuck about you, I'll tell you once. But I tell people all the time, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm trying to inform you.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put that.
I'm not trying to convince you, I'm trying to inform you. And sometimes I can tell when people don't understand what I'm saying, because I'm a communicator. So I can tell when you don't understand what I'm saying. So I'll try to say it another way so that you can get the information, because it takes two to tango. So the communicator has to be able to communicate with the person. So you have the higher responsibility. And a lot of times people think that I'll be trying to convince them. Wrong. I'm not. And I think that you have to find a delineation. I will say there was a time that I was trying to convince people, and that's how I know the difference. But because I know my truth, I'm telling you now, my truth is I'm just letting you fucking know. You do what you want with the information. Information is the weapons. That's the bullets for your knowledge gun. I'm just giving you the bullets. You just need to know how to use them. If you shoot your fucking self in the face with it, that's on you.
That's right. Hey, we've all probably done that from one point to the other. But I mean, you don't know till you know. And so, and some truths are more painful than others. And when you're ready, when you know the emotional aspects of it, if you're ready, you're ready. And it's all about transmutation station, transitioning the perception of that experience.
So I told this guy one time, I said, always tell me the truth. And he told me the truth and I got mad. He say, but you told me to always tell you the truth. I looked him in the eye and say, just because it's the truth don't mean I gotta like it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like something like crazy. For instance, your grandmother died. It's the truth, but what you want me to fucking do cartwheels, bitch? Like now, it's
right.
And so, and that's another question I kind of want to ask you to kind of to steer us in another direction. But before I get there, I wanted to talk about heaven on earth. People, that's a strong concept to people. People think that you can't. Okay, so we have the idea that Christians, most religious people believe that okay, we're going to heaven, and that's when we have our roads paved with gold. All right, so in law, like in law school, taking that as fact, okay, even if that's true, you can, what if you could have heaven on earth too? What if you can have both? You know what I'm saying? What if you could be happy on earth just as you, God said, let it be
hey,
as it is?
hello, as yes. I was just gonna
So why would not, like if I had fun, like if my life, if I created a heaven on earth for myself, then when I get to heaven, but that's a rabbit hole.
As earth as it is in heaven. Hello, you're right. You just said it, and that's true. And that's the false. I think that's the false narrative of the blocks of perception, or the blocks that the restraints in the physical world, versus because that those worlds probably have always merged and combined. It's just the veil. They want to cloud the eyes. And that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just the program we everybody speaks about, or that we're speaking about. Not to be cliche, but they don't want you to know that shit. Once you know that shit, then you're limitless. You're invincible, right? But that is the truth. And there's that's when we get talking about this. I get all fired up when we start talking about Christianity and things like that. Because it's so beautiful, but it's so hypocritical in the same aspects and connotation, and that's where my swords of truth will come out, up until the point that I can understand, up until thus far, on a lot of things, because I learn every day too. But the thing is that it's kind of like, how can you argue that? Because if kind of like, well, welcome all my children, but then only if you do this, that, or the other. That's the hypocrisy in it. And as I'm thinking to myself, like, why do people not? Yeah, but why do people not ask these fucking questions? Like, it's like so black and white, it's so cut and dry, but yet it's like that hard. And I'm thinking, like, I call it being alpha dogged. You ever see that movie Alpha Dog, where they let that kid trust them, and then all of a sudden they executed him? And it's kind of like, it's like, basically, all right, we're gonna reel you in, and we're gonna hug you real tight, but then I'm gonna fuck you over at the end of the day. It's like, why? I would say, man, they alpha dog that dude. It's like, so the churches and stuff and things like that. It's like there's so much alpha dogging going on right now. So, and you have to be able to trust what you feel, trust what you know, and also in the same aspects, be willing to learn and create your own convictions. Be brave enough to step into your own beliefs, your own belief system, and check all your the checks and balances. It's
the Leo full moon. If you ever needed some courage, just take Go walk outside barefoot and stare at the moon for a little minute. It's going to never thought you never knew. Like,
Mm-hmm. Well, they say lions are the king of the jungle, right? We are walking through this world's a fucking jungle. If anything. Unnecessary worries, my kids.
So, okay, so really quickly, I want to dive back into this idea of truth. And so this is a concept that one of my exes taught me. I learned a lot. So that's how transmutation, that's how I alchemize everything I've been through. Like, how can this make me better? So I refer to them, not to give them credit or take away credit from them, because they weren't horrible humans, but I credit the teachers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when we talk about truth, one of the things is, so my ex Capricorn, he was the most honest person I ever met in my life. So honest it was not honest to a fault, but honest to a fault, because even Rummy said anything is in excess is poison. Okay, so
that's true.
I feel like you have to know when to tell the truth, not omit, not lie, not hide, but when to tell the truth. Sometimes you just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't say anything. You have to know when to speak and when not to speak. If it doesn't add value, if it doesn't make something better, why say it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, let's say we have a special ed kid. Would you just walk up to that kid and be like, hey, you're fucking retarded? No. No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
So that's a truth. And if you can cognitively understand that truth, I hate when people be like, well, I was just telling the truth. You wouldn't walk up to a retarded person and tell them they were fucking retarded, huh? You playing with me. Stop fucking playing with me. You know, so people use it as manipulation tools and things like that. And that was my issue with him. And so he taught me that. So I don't use my truth as a weapon. I don't use my truth to manipulate. I use my truth to uplift.
That's and there's the intent.
So how do you feel about that?
Well, no, I feel like that's perfect, because that's the truth, and that's the truth and the integrity. That's the responsibility with the quote unquote power, which I don't really see it as the power, but it's the power and the purity of the gifts of knowing. You know what I mean? We all have our own gifts and things like that, and it's about knowing when to use them. And you're right, what you're saying, like the song, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? It's kind of like you don't use the truth. What's that? The forks of the tongue. You don't use the fork of the tongue to maliciously hurt people. You don't use that truth to hurt people, but because those band-aids get ripped off when they're meant to get ripped off. But that's also when I spoke about when I usually will say, and I don't think I'm better or anything like that, but when I say God show them the truth, that means it's not up to me to say it. I can't overstep my spiritual boundaries. So that's just an analogy or something I use that I don't know that I use for myself. Because when you can't do, it's painful to watch a lot of times. It's painful to watch.
God will make you like me. I tell people I'm a recovering help addict. So I just be trying to save people from their truth, and God, He will literally take you, remove you, and turn you away so you can't watch because it'd be so bad.
Yeah, that's true. And I have had to remove myself, even like I've said before, I don't deal with emotional abuse. Like if I'm in a situation, and I don't care who it is, I've been in situations where I can't overstep my boundaries because that's not my child. But if I can feel that child's like heart run through mine because I can feel their pain or what the damage it's doing, even though I'm not better, I can't emotionally. I'm like, that's what I mean. It's like God show them the truth, because I have to remove myself, and I have to also know that there's something bigger in protection wise that I can do in that moment. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, I'm gonna, like you said about your triggers and stuff. That's a big trigger for me. And if I sat in that situation longer than I'm supposed to be, then I'm probably gonna go ape shit. And I don't want to do that, because I already got my cue when to move. When to leave. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I finished. I said that's when I have my cue. I know my threshold on that sensor mechanism of when, okay, it's like, nope, I'm done. I can't take, but there's also those situations where, you can't do nothing about it, but because it's not your place to overstep your boundaries, but you also can't I'm not going to set in it either, Yeah.
So I'm not going to stay here and watch this shit either. Fuck this.
Right.
Let's get out of here. So So, quick question. Oh man, I'm high. I forgot what I was about to ask you.
But then there's the surrender to the higher power, to the divine, or to the universal love that is stronger and is more capable. So it's also the dropping of the ego, because if I also think that I can, that I'm the one that's supposed to save the entire world by
Mhm.
one swipe of my sword, and
Mhm.
once but there's an equal balance in it, because the love in my heart can push through, like, if we're talking energetic wise, Reiki wise, you can push that out, but you also know physically, like you said, when you can do something, when you can't. And there's a lot of strength in that too.
So this was a question I wanted to ask you. So listen, let me tell you, I'm just like, just a truth analogy. Just sometimes when the truth hazy, you don't really know what to do or how to deal with it. So one day, one of my neighbors came and knocked on my door, and asked me if I called DHS on them. I think that's who it is, or DSS. I forget. It's in different places. And so I was like, nah, I ain't never called. She was just like, well, if you hear my baby crying, because I sleep with my windows open most times. She said, if you hear my baby screaming in the middle of the night, that's because we're teething. If she's teething, we're trying to teach her how to sleep in a crib by herself. I said, okay, whatever. So one day, it had to be at least 15 degrees outside. Maybe colder. Okay, I'll say 20 because we're in Charlotte and it hadn't been 15 degrees, but as cold as it could get in fucking Charlotte. And she had this little baby outside barefoot. I want the fucking people on her. Like, I want to fucking call the police on her immediately. And I was cold. I'm a grown ass adult. I had on pants and
I
shoes.
know.
She had this baby outside in the cold. So my truth, as a truth person, like as a child advocate, what do I do? Do I fucking call the people on this bitch, or do I? So that was when I just let go. But she knocked on my door after that, and I ain't answer it because I can't fuck with you as a human being, bitch. Just don't come knock on my door, because if I talk to you, I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna call the police on you.
Right, yeah. Well, I think I didn't know it wasn't you. It was actually a family. But it was a family member when you were talking about that. It was somebody that was, on the down low hater, but also slash protector. So it wasn't out of, I guess, that I felt like that was more out of spite, than actually wanting to help. But in control, but that just goes also to in the same sentence of babies having babies. If you ain't healed yourself, you ain't got no motherfucking business breeding.
Like, I feel like you ain't healed, you don't got no fucking business doing nothing but figuring your fucking shit out. Because everywhere you go, you're gonna leave a trail of your shit. Get your fucking shit together, and then go get out. You know what I'm saying? But humans,
I
already saw it. Just like you probably.
Right. And here's another thing too. It's like, how many times I feel, I don't know why I just thought about talking about this, but I think part of those big transitions too, if we're talking about kids and families and things like that, what about all the people that like stay stuck they say for the sake of a child, which was generations and generations over, right? But you're really hurting your kid more by staying there, because you're teaching your child in a lot of ways not to respect themselves, to stay stuck. So they're bound.
We do what we do what we see, especially as children.
Right.
No matter how old we get, we still do what we see. Our parents are setting.
Oh yeah. I have dadisms. I have momisms. I see when I'm older, I can see certain things that I'm like, oh man, that my dad's name's Harold, so I say, well, that's a Haroldism. But I'll do a self check. I'll be like, oh, that was a Haroldism, I was like, whoa. And then and those are the things. It's like oil. It's like oil and vinegar a lot of times. But I also think that there's a lot to be said of those self-reflection processes too, because we're all works of art. We're all works of healing. So you're still in this physical world, but your soul is pure and beautiful. So
that part.
But and maybe what is it? Is it just literally that? Is it the connection? Is it you drawing that unto yourself? so it can physically intertwine in the space, you know?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
yes, I think so. Like, to be honest, yes. You
Yeah.
create, it goes back to as above, so below. That
Mm-hmm.
goes back to, we create
Yeah.
our reality. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
drawing.
big. Yeah. Well, a big one is kind of like that, that Pink song, "What Dreams You're Gonna Make," and it's also the same as like that movie, "What Dreams May Come," kind of showing the reality, how you're manifesting your realities and things like that. And then as you're going through those processes, you don't know until you know. And so that's why I say we're all works in progress, is because you're like, man, I never would have brought that shit on myself. I never would have brought that. Like when your light bulb goes off, you're like, what the fuck? I never would have brought that on myself had
Like,
I known, unbeknownst to me, right? And then you're setting in it, and then you get the light bulb, and you're like, oh dang, okay, all right, well that's the whole live and learn concept, right? So I mean, there's so many, everything's so beautifully woven and intertwined, on so many levels. Hello. So that's why it's I sometimes I am at a loss for words, because as messed up as some things are, I also can see the beauty in it all too. How everything's beautifully woven and intertwined. So
J. Cole says beauty in the struggle. And that's like when everything is beautiful, when everything like people don't get that concept. And I know, like, they say, and I hate doing cliche shit, but they say once you reach a certain point of enlightenment, everything sounds like a Yoda riddle. But like but like it is true, it is beauty in the struggle. Like, what if I told you everything that happened in your life was for your good? What if I told you that? What if I told you that you could not fail, and that no matter what happened in life you could not fail? What if I told you that the universe literally was conspiring to give you what you want? What would you
Right.
do? How would you live?
Yeah, exactly. I would do what but actually, I kind of pretty much do what the fuck I want. It's just sometimes not everybody always agrees, but they don't have to.
Don't have
But the thing is that yeah, that is true. But when you're talking about I don't know, you said something about yogi, and I was thinking about is Yoda the yogi of Star Wars? I think so. Yoda's like miniature and green and walks around with this little hood and don't give a fuck. Yoda don't care. Yoda's like the all wise and powerful Oz and Star Wars, right? The wisdom of Yoda with the wrinkles on the forehead and everything. I think he's a little cool cat. So basically, there's a lot of power in the miniature of, if that was the word, of Yoda. The little Yoda is
a
packing a
little.
big power, a larger than life wisdom, and so compact in a little body. And maybe the bodies of the earth they've been wanting to compact these little meat suits and make sure like they're just like stuck like this, and really your soul is the wisdom of Yoda, larger than life, right?
Man, listen. I listen. Y'all can have these fucking Yoda lessons. Keep that shit. That give me my degree. Give me my life back. I'm just playing.
Oh, and that is, you just said it though. Like, give you your life back. That's claiming sovereignty. Claiming it back, claiming your authentic self, wielding the sword. Like, for whatever reason we want to talk about swords tonight, or using that concept, wielding the sword in the direction that's your truth. And that's why they call it Archangel Michael's sword. I have a Yoda wants to visit. I have a Yoda.
I like his Batman collar.
Oh yeah, I got two. The other one, yeah, he is a little Batman for sure. The other one has a Superman collar. But yep, this one is a little wild one in a little body, and a little wild child in a little body, larger than life. He actually, his name's Biscuit, but Biscuit has taught me freedom, and has taught me not to give a fuck, because he is full on character, and does some batshit crazy things that is just like, you're like, what? But it's kind of like, hello world, here I am, and I believe that's the energy that's been brought to me via Biscuit.
All right. Everything teaches us something.
Right?
That part.
Everything's so full of character. And I just pulled throat portal. Speak your truth with courage.
Speak your truth with courage. Um,
Yeah,
Tavia said, "Don't be afraid of change. Don't be scared of change." Listen,
right.
people want change, but people don't want change. They say they want change because by the time change start hitting, they think change feel like something else.
I like change. I like new. I like new excitement, new opportunities, new things to learn
But
and step
the
into.
older get those things, and people be so attached to the old that they can't grab a hold
Yeah.
of the new.
A lot of us are in some ways too. I mean, there's certain things I don't like, there some things I don't like to change because change can be uncomfortable sometimes.
Mhm.
But also in the same aspects, I think I'm good at transmuting that because if I don't like staying stuck in certain things. I like to move. I like to move and grow. Um, but yeah, some things I don't like to change, but. Eh. Just
Um,
like when they stop making your favorite whatever you like, and you're like, oh well, if you would have known that your favorite restaurant was gonna stop serving that favorite sandwich you like, if you would have known, you could have went and got that last one. But
yeah,
now it's just a memory,
yeah.
and you can be grateful for all of the things in life. I always say, I've said it before too, about God always sends you, and there's always a light in every tunnel out of every situation, and I said before, like you said about the lessons, and if you knew this, that, and the other, well, your enemies are your teachers too. That's why it doesn't make no sense to they teach you that change too, and resistance, to be emotionally responsible for yourself, you know. They run around these streets acting batshit crazy, jumping on people's cars and shit.
And when you're emotionally mature about yourself, when you do
Right,
somebody
right,
and go
right.
batshit crazy, they understand how serious it is.
Yeah, yeah, because that's the testings, because it's not that serious. It's like it's just not. It don't make that much sense. That doesn't indicate love, people. If you're chasing people down and jumping on their cars and shit, that does not prove loyalty and or love. That
But
proves that's fucking insanity. So
I'm like,
just
that be my little test. Like, do I want to? Like, I be feeling my little crazy itching up. I'd be like, I can't. Mm. Gone
uh,
are the days.
how's life treating you these days, kiddo?
Man, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I'm over here in heaven on earth, and nobody
Yeah,
gives to me.
and that and there's a hi Tavia, hi House of Judea. I was just checking out this comments. Yeah, and also too, it's kind of like there, when they say there is no right or wrong, kid, do you really think you can fuck anything up? So what's meant to be yours will always be yours. Do you think that you can mess your path up? No, it may take you a little longer to get there.
And so, okay, so I say all of that, but in the same vein, I be talking on both sides of my neck. I do think you
Mhm.
can mess up a blessing. I do think that you can fuck up your heaven on earth. Um,
Yeah, well, in some ways, yeah. If it's like black and white right in your face, sure, sure.
right.
Because you can choose to stay in fear, or you can choose to shift. That's the free will. That
Yes.
is the free will.
Yes.
But that's so that on that.
Fear to not fear is scary, my friend.
Well, I think people are more afraid of the shift into their freedom than they are afraid of their fear. you know
Mm,
I think that there's fear on both sides of those spectrums with that, because it's a you when we talk about change, it's like the whole change is like, okay, well, it's easy to know how to walk through something that you've already dealt with, right? Because you've already done it. So you know what I mean? You know how to deal with messed up situations, or the same situations, or the same things you do all the time. But a new challenge, which could be the blessing or the new level of change, is also, people also fear that too, because they're in unmarked territory now. Oh my God, I might have to jump over this threshold and learn something new, or be vulnerable to something. Well, you were vulnerable since the day you were born in so many ways, right? So why, and so you walked through all of that. So I think if people want a guarantee and the outcome or the aspects. Well,
I definitely would like, if God could write me a guarantee letter, that would be nice. However, like, life don't come with guarantees. But what I will say, and this is something that I want to just kind of bring full circle, it's just as manifesting and standing in your truth. Like, if you believe it, if you really put your mind to it, if you really actively pursue it, you can have it.
Yes. And that way, in opening, to kind of chime in on that, I think that's what I was kind of speaking, or what I mean by truth and integrity and things like that, is because it doesn't matter, like, if you were bouncing all around the kitchen ever since you're a little kid and everybody told you to sit down and you're too hyper and you're too this, but there's just always that little something in you that was kind of like, this is who I am, this is who I'll always be. It takes, once you become into adulthood, it takes you, you'll always work on those parts of you that were suppressed, right? But the thing about it is like, but there's still that in you that knows that, this is me, that I'm okay to be in this world, and it's that conviction and that true belief in what the purpose of that is. And that's how, when they say, what, to thine own self be true, you're true to yourself if you don't let nobody cloud that perception or that belief you have in your heart. That's the truth. You know what I mean? And so that, to me, is the truth in your integrity. In that way, when it comes to what you know and what you believe up until the point, how you know yourself up until that point, and then how you wield that into the world, how you can use that in the world to inspire, maybe to show people never to give up. And those are some of the great inspirational stories or things like that, come hell or high water, that they didn't give up because they believed in heaven on earth. They believed in beautiful things. They believed that mountains can be moved by the grace and the hand of God through a miracle, that, you can close your eyes, and if you can touch that love with your eyes closed and you can feel it, then why do you think it's not possible for your hand to meet it? And that's just not romantic love. That's love in all forms. You know what I'm saying? That's the love and the beauty through the eyes of the world that, you perceive. And so who is anybody to come and fuck up your Kool-Aid and tell you that that's not possible? If that, you know what I'm saying? Those are the energies you need to exit yourself from.
People who ain't never had what they wanted, so they want to come rain on your parade. Fuck you. But so another thing I wanted to say is, this is another thing that I learned. I can't express it. It might not look like what you think it would look like. I saw something that said, like, bake, but be loose with instructions. Like, be loose with the ingredients. Like, don't be so stuck to what you think it should look like, what you think it should feel like, that you don't get what God got for you, or whatever you believe in God for you. God wants better for you than you want for yourself. So you might be underselling yourself, and God might give you something that may not look like what you want, but you gotta understand that God wants more for you. So he'll give you something better. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people miss, another reason why people miss their blessing is because they don't look like what they look like. They say, I want a man that's 6 foot tall, dark, and handsome with hazel eyes and a 6-figure job. Instead, they get the average Joe with a trust fund that they know nothing about. But by the time if they actually chose that person, by the time they got married, they would be gazillionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like, but average Joe might fucking be, when you meet him, he might not have the 6 figures, but he might give you the time of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can't get money doesn't equate to time. That's a thing. Time's well more, I mean, in my opinion, it's well more precious. You can't get time back. Money comes and goes.
Well, time
but right, somebody's time is way more precious than that material stuff that's not gonna always can maybe not sustain, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't be brought to fruition because you had the pure heart and the intention with the time and the energy. If you appreciate that, then you can also bring that frequency in, and that, you know what I'm saying, so that it could come full circle, which would equate to what heaven on earth as well. So I think that there's people that think they have to choose one or the other, or what it's supposed to, like what you said, what's supposed to look like versus what it is. It's like, no, is it? I think some of the happiest people are the ones that live the most simplest lives, because they're not dealing with all the bullshit, but you have to be strong enough to walk through the smoke and the mirrors. And sometimes the smoke and mirrors can cloud us all at times, but you're still gonna get through them. So just gotta get out your Windex, wipe that shit off. Walk through the smoke, the fog machines, like the haunted houses on Halloween.
I'm gonna do that shit soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, having integrity, having and this is, I guess we're getting ready to wrap up, but I'll tell you this, one person, one thing, regardless of whether you lie to people, whether you lie to your boss, whether you lie, guess who you can't lie to?
God. Turn yourself.
That's it. And the worst lie, look, another fuck nigga told me the worst lie you can tell is to yourself. And I live by that. I don't lie to myself. If I said, listen, I matter of fact, I had a very uncomfortable conversation with myself because I had to accept the truth that I did not like. But in order to change it, I had to accept that it was real, that I really felt that way, even if I didn't want to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? But that's another rabbit hole for another day. But you have to fucking you can't lie to the universe. And so when you're trying to manifest things and with transmuting energies, like you gotta resonate at the frequency in which of the thing you want. And you could lie to everybody around you, but you can't lie to the universe. The universe feel your energy. Energy is scientific. It's a proven thing. They vibrate at different frequencies. So I ain't talking no hippy dippy shit. So the universe senses how fast your energy is moving. It reads it, and it only gives you what you're vibrating at. And I tell people all the time, when you vibrate high, low fucking bottom feeders come too, because everything. But you can only that truth can get you what you want. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just in agreement because I was in agreement because I was just gonna chime in and say about what if a lot of the beautiful souls are freak. I actually just finished a reading before we had got on because I think we texted on that, but there was something spoken on that that is kind of like, what if your frequency was always there? Your frequency was always vibrating at that point, but it's not, you don't know until you know. I guess I would say, not to be cliche, but until you see yourself in that light, that but that's kind of releasing and transitioning all those chains, all those energies, and all those the gremlins that want to hold on to that energy. And you know what, and hey, but it's just the energy, it's just the resistance of change, the resistance to love, that unbeknownst to you don't even, a lot of times you don't even realize it. It's just because it was just like a bubble, being like the kid in the bubble, but in the world. So most of the humble people are most gifted people, or what, whatever. We don't even see yourself that way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because if you actually, I think that they actually, I just posted a meme not long ago. If you actually knew who you were, but also takes me back to the Stardust. I like that, because if we're all creative, if they say that, if you take the religious context out of it, and if they say universally we're all one, and God created the heaven and earth, and he created creation of the stars, then why don't you think you're a part of that beautiful galaxy? And so, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you think you're a part of all of those things? And I like what when you said about looking under the microscope and seeing, I bet you some of them poor little cremated souls, they probably sparkle under that light too. But then, they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But the soul's eternal, which also, we can go on a whole nother level on this, but also too, I think realizing how your energy is universally woven, and the timelines are multidimensional, in the concept of timelines that we can understand physically in the physical space. So you're that's why I feel like people, some people feel familiar that you've never met. Like there's a for me, there's a familiarity with you and I, and multiple people in my life. So does that mean that, that we're probably fucking some people up with our swords on like a time, like a seventh dimensional frequency, you and I, and we're kind of like meeting each other back here in this physical space, so.
And so I'm toying with the so it's quantum physics, the idea of dimension hopping and timeline jumping. So I'm studying. So I understand timeline jumping essentially. I don't understand it enough to explain it, but it's simple. Is I can say it's as simple as yes and no. It's as simple as going or not going. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as staying in or not. It's as simple as saying those words or not saying those words. You know what I'm saying? That's timeline happened. But to quantum leap, I'm Nicole Rising. Shout out to Ann Rising. She has a
oh yeah, I like her. Yeah, shout out. I watched I like she has pretty energy too, but she specializes in that, right? And I watched a couple of her I watched a couple of her, not necessarily catch her live because I think she comes on at different times, but I have gone back and watched a few of her things
she has
in my spare time.
Illuminations about just the dimension hopping. Look it up.
I will. I'll look more into that because I have caught her a few times on there. And also too, what you had just said, what about the movies that have like alternate endings? What if it's all perception? What if it's all belief in about optimism versus pessimism and how you're thinking about things? So if it's like what if and I think I'm sorry. I would like to say this because I feel like there's a lot of us in this time period. This is meant to be said, I guess. There's a lot of us in this time period, believe, like would have a wild card in the deck. You know what I'm saying? Which means, or like the wild card in Uno, which is say, okay, you can create it any way you want because you've been here multiple times and now the choice is yours. It's up to you. And yes, and so I think that there's a lot of us that there's a lot of us in that frame right now that and it's cool. It's the alternate ending. And so do you believe in happy endings? Do you believe in your heaven on earth? Do you believe that you can roll around the Monopoly board and still not hit bankruptcy? You know what I mean? It's like
it's still and just the idea. Don't get it twisted. Creating heaven on earth is hard because you have to fight the daunting thoughts of the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? And it's not you have to always be real. We're staying in truth. You have to always be in reality with yourself. So to be in heaven is not to be without reality. Does that make sense?
Right.
Who would want to be in heaven and not really remember that they're there, or, not mentally be there for it? So you want to beat it. Like that's how you get to it, but you gotta be honest with yourself about.
I almost think a lot of ways that's like that is the magic of Pisces in a way, you know what I mean? Because I've always been that way ever since I was little. Like I was like, oh, I believe the impossible is possible, and all of the.
So my friend is a Pisces rising, and I tell him all the time, I was like, bro, you magic, and he don't really get it. And I'll be like, no, you're really magic. But yeah, I can see, and that's the thing, like the danger is it seems so simple is believing it. Like what it is believing it.
MLD always says it's simple. It is. The world's created it as a hard concept, but I think it is more simple because I think it's hard to believe it is that simple. You know what I mean? So that also ties into the sense of you're doing, we're spent up until thus far on doing all of these little tentacles and things of, and breaking down your building and breaking down false belief systems and building your own. And it's like the heaven on earth concept isn't like, okay, well, I'm going to walk out and, streets paved with gold. Well, I guess if every time you walk outside and you walk on the sidewalk and you see it in your mind light up in gold, then it is for you, you know. So that's your reality. You know, it's like, okay, then eventually people, then that's why people are looking at you funny, because then eventually they're gonna see it. You know, a lot of people have to see things to believe them, but I realize I've never been one of those people personally, but maybe that's the magic of what we were talking about, the magic of Pisces, because I have just always believed. I'm not one of the, you don't have to convince me. I don't gotta see it to believe it on either side of the spectrum. It goes by how it feels. You know what I mean? I do believe in the magic of the beautiful things, and you know, the magic and miracles and things like that. I always have, and I also don't go looking for the monsters in the closet, because if I feel the energy, I know I don't need to see them. I already fucking know it exists. You know what I'm saying? It's like
where else?
I'm not a curiosity kills the cat type person on one of those things. You don't gotta fucking convince me. I've seen enough shit already, and I'm not better than nobody. I've been through enough to know up until this point that I don't need to be convinced. On either side of the spectrum, it's just the energy, like you said, the energy and the frequency that you're drawn into, and the spaces and places that you're coinciding and you're choosing to align with.
Mm-hmm.
So simple.
So we got 5 minutes. Let's wrap this thing up. So you want to pull a card? How you want to end this thing? Let's end this thing off right.
Actually, it's kind of viewed as like beautiful, free flowing, just serene type energy this evening.
It was good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's do an ending message. A lot of my decks like to be combined, so I think this one's okay, here we go. Woo, all right, that one just jumped right out. Galactic Guidance, Star Family, Ascension, and Cooperation, number 18 card. So calling in the frequency that's meant to be a part of the next parts of your journey. You're multidimensionally, as we spoke about, and being brought to us physically. And I think weeding out things that aren't people, places, and things, okay, that don't serve our energy or our purpose. So when you said in the beginning, it's not happening for you or to you, it happens for you. That all coincides very much with that card. So, and there's always higher powers via that be the frequency of the divine love, universal love, whatever love you believe in. That when they say, if you knew all the protection and all the things that you had working for you, instead of against you to push you, that would be ancestral, our loved ones, our whole divine team. You wouldn't even be worried about shit right now if you actually so let that be a reminder sometimes when we're in that space, when you're in that space of fear, indecision, worry, or doubt, to just kind of give like 2 minutes, give 2 minutes of feeling that divine love and that divine protection that surrounds you, because we don't, the dropping of the ego is to say, you don't have to walk it alone. You know what I mean? You're not alone. You're not alone.
And so really quickly, one of the cards I pulled for today was devotion. Like, I don't even know if it was devotion, but that's the message that I got from it. And like, my charge to everybody was to find a devotion. How you talk to God, and I think we talked about this a while ago. Or how do you hear from the universe? How do you talk to God, whatever you believe in, when you got some time, not at church, not around people, not what society tell you, but how do you spend time with God? How do you communicate with God? What is he? Do you put on some songs and then shit just start to hit? Do you go to the gym and then you just start getting ideas? Do you sit and play the video game and everything fucking come together? What is your devotion? What is your meditation? And do it at least 10 minutes a day. Today you can't. We want to do God's work, but we don't ever want to sit down and hear from him and listen to what he got to tell us.
And don't let motherfuckers get mad at you because you just wake up like that. It's Like you don't, the what you said, Leanne. You don't have to explain it to nobody. It belongs to you.
Yep.
So and there is no right or wrong way because it is just yours. And yeah, I'm a firm believer and a firm teacher of that. If I could share that, I wholeheartedly built that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to build that for other people during my readings, and I also like to build that. I believe it myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when people ask about meditation and stuff, and we spoke on it, I always say it's whatever it is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there doesn't. It's yours,
Mm-hmm.
and that's freedom. How you can't get more beautiful than that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want me to work in fast food or anything because I'll be making pizzas like I like to eat them, but they'll go out of business. So that's what it is. You can put all the beautiful things you love in everything you do in your life, and that's the true creation in heaven on earth, you
Right.
know. Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So happy, what is it? Happy Testimony Tuesday. It
Yeah.
has been an episode of Transmutation Station. You got anything for the people before we head out, Marcy?
Oh no, just be strong in yourself and be courageous during, like Leanne said, during this Leo full moon. But I think it's not even. I don't think it's endings and bad things. I think it's claim. I feel like it's claiming victory, and I've just pulled empowerment. I was like claiming victory. Yeah, that, like you say, yeah, that part. I just stole that from you. Yeah, that part, claiming victory, empowerment. Yeah, bless you all, and be strong in yourselves and be compassionate with yourselves.
With that being said, bye. We'll see y'all next time.
Take care.